Praise your name, Jesus. Amen. The sun has set in Israel, and evening has come, and the sky is clear, and the moon hangs high, and it shines bright overhead. There's a city that sits below, but it's no ordinary backwater city. It's the city of Jerusalem. And the center of the Jewish world is the city of Jerusalem. The city's quiet, and only faint voices can now be heard coming from the windows of homes inside the city. But during the day, the place was mobbed. The city was packed to the gills with people, men, women, children, even livestock. But now it's nighttime, and the streets have cleared out, and there's very little happening outside. Yet inside the homes of the Jewish people, they are having a meal. They are eating the dinner meal, but it's not just any ordinary dinner meal, it's the Passover meal. And in the city of Jerusalem, this Passover meal is the culmination of the annual festival of Passover, and Passover being this week-long celebration of Israel's epic liberation from Egypt. An average-sized home comes into our view, and it's located on the outskirts of the city, a sizable distance away from the temple. And as the house comes into view, we see that it has a second-story room. And it's in this upper room that there are 12 young men, late teens, early 20s. And they all sit around this low lying table. But they don't sit on chairs, though. They're reclining, and they're propped up on one of their elbows. And they're able to reach whatever's on the table. As they sit around the table, as they recline, their attention is fixed on a man who seems to be leading the meal. He's reciting words, he's offering prayers, he's giving instruction. And it's clear that this man, their rabbi, has their complete attention. We zoom in a little more and we see that it's Jesus. And Jesus is not just leading this meal, he's also using this meal to speak about what's going to happen to him in the upcoming days. Jesus wants his students to know what's about to take place so that they're not surprised. He wants them to know that what's going to take place is supposed to take place. As Jesus speaks, there is confusion among the 12 young men. There are whispers that start to go around the table. Soon enough, questions are coming out and they start to get aimed at Jesus. But with each question, Jesus keeps telling them, "You can trust me. You can trust me." Even at one point he says, "Don't let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God. Trust also in me." Now, within this particular scene in Jesus' life, things are coming to a climax. Everything has been building to this particular moment. His betrayal, his cross, his death are only hours away. Now, what Jesus knows is that his students are not expecting this at all. And so without outright telling them everything in great deal, Jesus purposely shares with them kind of subtly over this meal what's going to happen. And he brings to light the fact that they're going to be very confused, they're going to be terrified, they're going to grieve very deeply. But Jesus also assures them, "You can trust me. You can trust me." He also assures them, "Listen, I'm not going to leave you alone. I will return to you." Jesus assures them, this is how it's supposed to happen. This is how it's supposed to go down. Jesus assures them that after the grief and mourning and heartache, there will be joy, and it will be an unshakable joy, the kind of joy that the scriptures speak about when Jesus is born. Now, as Jesus shares all of this, as he shares about the darkness that is awaiting him, he makes a couple statements that get at the core of everything that's about to go down. Jesus makes some statements and he uses some very specific language. And when you look at the entirety of his life, you begin to realize that this is the very reason Jesus entered the world. And as Jesus' students sit around the table, hanging on every single word, kind of confused, Jesus says this, clear as day: "The prince of this world is coming, and he has no hold over me, but he comes so that the world may learn that I love the Father and do exactly what my Father has commanded me." The prince of this world is coming. Now, when you and I hear that word prince, our minds may think royalty, our minds may think some type of a ruler. For some of us, our minds might immediately go to this, Prince William, an old grandma who is the Queen of England, and she keeps doing her queen thing at 90 years old. But the prince Jesus is speaking about isn't a celebrity, it's not a political type of figure. The prince Jesus is speaking about isn't even a particular person. Jesus is speaking about a prince or a power or a force that has a mad amount of control. And at this stage in the game, at this stage in Jesus' life, we can even say that this prince, this ruler, this force, this power has a grip on the world. And Jesus says that it's that prince that is now coming for him. Whatever prince or power or powers it is, whatever it is, it's obvious that it wants Jesus off the scene. Because up until this moment, what Jesus has been doing, he's been confronting this power at every single turn. If you look at the entirety of Jesus' life in the scriptures, at every turn, he is combating, he is going and bumping up against this power. And when you bump up against a power that has a grip, a death grip on things, on people, on this world, things are going to go down. Things aren't going to end well. From the moment Jesus was born, these rulers, whatever, these powers, this prince, wanted him off the scene. They wanted him gone because they knew who he was and they knew why he had come. From the moment he was born and laid in a manger, these powers wanted him off the scene. Now, when I was a youngin', when I was in my teens, and I always listened to a wide variety of music. I was of the Napster generation. How many of you remember Napster, where you downloaded songs? Well, it became illegal. It wasn't illegal to begin with, okay? Just so you know. When I was a young teen, I used to listen to this wide variety of music, and as a white suburban teenager who was trying to look all slick and cool for the ladies, I'd roll into my high school with my 1993 white Chevy Lumina, windows down, with my all-blue interior, and I would have music blasting, and out of those windows came music from my rinky-dink stereo system that had about one speaker working on a floor. And out of the car came some songs, and one of the songs came from a very popular hip-hop